Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel and welcome to another TBR Takedown where I am trying to focus on reducing the amount of books in like my priority TBR list. If you're new to these challenges, I have a little book right here where I jot down all of the books that I purchase in a year. And when I started this, the first sort of category of books was all of the books that I owned prior to, I believe, 2024. Yeah, all of those books that I had owned, there was 184 books on the list. And you know, I've had those for a very long time at this point, and I really want to get that number reduced. So that's kind of what I'm focusing on in these TBR Takedown videos. I'm a little bit quicker to DNF while reading through these because I've had them for so long, a little bit harsher on it. And I'm hoping to get hopefully somewhere down towards like 75, 80 by the end of the year. At this point, I don't really know if that's feasible because I went an entire month without doing one of these TBR challenges, but you know what, we're gonna see. Right now we stand at 122 books on that list, and I'm hoping to get a few more of them knocked out during this challenge. This challenge, each time I kind of pick like a theme of what I'm going to try reading, and this one's going to be focusing on series that I have that are on the list, mainly because I have a lot of series that are on there and they're only listed as one option, most of them anyway. Like I put the entire series as just one number, so like that's multiple books that I have to read to even cross that off the list. But also because in my overall TBR, a lot of these series are taking up a decent amount of those numbers, and I would like to maybe reduce them because, yeah, as I'm trying to work through these, I'm trying to work through getting my entire physical TBR down as well. So I have a lot of series on this priority list that I had bought the entire series all at once, even though I didn't know if I was actually going to like the series. I've since stopped doing that, or tried to stop doing that so frequently, but I really want to try to see where we fall on these series. I've been putting them off because I'm in the middle of so many different series. I don't really want to start another one, but if I can determine that I don't really feel like reading through the whole series, then I can knock out a decent amount of books off my overall TBR. So, you know, we decided that's what we're going to do today. So I have a whole stack here that I can pick from. I don't really know which one I want to start with. I'll just run through some of the options. We have the Marked series, we have the Gossip Girl series, we have this Becoming of Noah Shaw. I think it's just a duology, but it interconnects to another series that I don't own, I will say. Honor Among Thieves, there's 3 of these books. I only own 2 of them though. Fated, the Soul Seekers series, I guess there's 4 of those. Rule is part of, I think, only a duology, and then the longest series that I have is the Vampire Diaries. I own, I think, like 8 or 9 of these books, and I don't even think that's the entirety of the series. So I do really want to try to get to this in this video. I am going to kind of format this the way I formatted the last one, where it's like a speed dating my TBR, where I'm going to give myself a certain amount of time to read these or a certain amount of pages and make a determination based off of that if I'm going to finish with the book and therefore with the series, or if I'm just going to give up. I think I'll probably give myself like halfway through the book, just because I am determining if I'm giving up an entire series just based off of a shorter amount than just the entire first book. So we're gonna at least go to the halfway point of these books, unless I'm really, really hating it, and make the determination then. If I don't think that I'm going to love it, then we're gonna give it up and we're gonna move on with the night. So we're just gonna, I think, film for the night, see how much I can work my way through. It's currently almost 6:30 at night, and I do work night shift, so that means I'll probably be awake for probably most of the night, and we'll see what I can get through in this challenge, and I'm kind of excited for it. So yeah, we should probably pick a starting book at this point though. So there's 7 books here. I think we'll just number them 1 through 7, 7 on the bottom, and ask Siri to pick a number. Hey Siri, pick a number between 1 and 7.
A random number between 1 and 7 is 5.
Sometimes she takes forever to spit out the number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so we have the Soul Seekers series. This says, until now, he's existed only in her dreams, but fate is about to bring them together. Okay. Oh, the description then goes into like a first-person dialogue. Oh, here we go. Okay, here's a better description. Strange things are happening to Dare Santos. Crows mock her, glowing people stalk her, time stops without warning, and a beautiful boy with unearthly blue eyes haunts all her dreams. Fearing for her daughter's sanity, Dare's mother sends her to live with the grandmother she's never met, a woman who recognizes the visions for what they truly are, the call to her destiny as a soul seeker, one who can navigate between the worlds of the living and the dead. I did read, I think, this first book when I first got it as like a teenager, and had the rest of the series and never read the rest of the series. That's why it's back on my priority TBR. So I don't really remember pretty much any of the premise. I don't remember what the writing style is, anything like that. So kind of still going into it with fresh eyes, just because it's been probably 15 years at least since I picked this up. We will start with this one and see where it takes us. So I'm 42 pages in, and we're kind of, you know, still going over like a bit of a setup for this. The main female character, I think her name is pronounced Dare, but I'm not entirely sure. She kind of just bounces around living on a set for different movies. Her mom works in, I think, like the makeup department for them. So she's kind of spent her entire life just moving from one place to another, not really getting any grounded roots anywhere or anything like that. And the book opens with her turning 16 and pretty much just having what everybody is deeming a mental breakdown, where she is convinced that these glowing people are coming after her, that there's a bunch of murderous crows, she's seeing people's heads on spikes, all of these crazy things. And while she used to experience them a little bit, like time would stop and she would see these glowing people and stuff, it would go away as soon as she blinked. And she really didn't think that this was going to become a bigger problem. But now that she's 16, it of course has become a bigger problem, and her grandmother has called out of the blue saying, hey, why don't you send her to me, and I think that I can help with this. So obviously still pretty much just the premise that I had read on the cover for the book. So far, it's not anything super crazy investing. The dynamic between her and her mom is a little bit weird, and it just feels very, I don't know, not like a typical mother-daughter relationship. She calls her mom by her first name, and it's just a very laid-back sort of relationship. It actually reminds me a lot of the relationship between the mother and daughter in the Hush Hush series. I, for some odd reason, feel like a lot of parental relationships in early 2000s book series, like especially YA ones, tried to depict parents as just very laid back, let their kids do whatever they want, and it's just kind of disingenuous to the way that things are, because then all of a sudden they come out of left field when they need to be a parent, and it feels very unnatural for their relationship, and the whole dynamic just feels weird reading about it. So I don't know, I'm not hugely attached to anything going on so far. Obviously, like I said, only just now kind of getting into a little bit more of the meat of the fantasy aspect of this story and the whole soul seeker thing. Hopefully we get some answers about that moving forward. But yeah, definitely the writing style that's very typical for books from the time period that this was published in. I think this, let's see, it's giving early 2000s vibes, and okay, a little bit older than I expected, 2012, but you know, still very reminiscent of a lot of those writing styles. So definitely YA, but not horribly so. Like, I'm still intrigued enough that I'm not ready to say no so far. I do have 175 pages to get to like the halfway point, and I think by then I'll be able to make a good determination for sure if I want to continue with this series or not. This book is so like perfectly coded for young teenagers, like, that are looking how do I phrase this? That like are going through that phase in their life where everything feels like it's the end of the world, and just like the last kind of big decision for them, where school and friendships and love and everything is like the most important thing, and you're never going to get past where you're currently at. I don't know how to phrase that other than it's just like, I don't know, those teenage years where it just feels like everything is monumental, because she's having this dream about this guy, and she, in the dream, she's losing him, and she's like, no, I can't lose him, I can't let this happen, not when it's taken 16 years to find him. Though the word has yet to be spoken, there's no denying it's love that we share, love that brought us both here. We're bound, we're fated, some things you just know without question. I'm like, yeah, at 16, you definitely feel that way. It feels like everything is the end of the world, and this has to be the person that you're going to be with. And now looking back, as a 30-year-old woman, it's just like, it's okay. It's okay. I promise. He's probably not actually fated for you. It's okay. You can lose him. It's gonna be fine. So that's funny. But it feels like so many fantasy books, especially at this time, when this is published, always have these very young characters that are like, but I love him, and I know that I love him, and I know that listen, young love happens, high school romances happen, and they're successful, but like, they just don't feel realistic anymore reading about them from this age. Alright, so I'm at 152 pages, and I think that I'm gonna call it here. I know that like halfway is 175, but I'm pretty set on not wanting to finish with this. I just feel like it's not bad by any means. It's definitely not the worst YA writing that I've ever read. I'm just not interested in it, which is a shame because I feel like the concept is really different from a lot of fantasy books that I've read. It has a lot of Spanish heritage in there, some Native American influences. The magic is supposed to be like derived from shamanism, and there's spirit guides and a vision quest, all of these different things that I haven't seen in a lot of fantasy books, or I guess somebody called this like paranormal romance, which I don't think that's accurate, but regardless. I guess fantasy wouldn't be accurate either because shamanism and spirit walks are real cultural things. So I don't know what to categorize it as, now that I've said that out loud. Fantasy is not the correct term. Anyway, regardless, I haven't read a book with that in it. We'll just use that statement. And I liked that, but I just still didn't feel like those elements were fleshed out enough, well-rounded enough. There's a lot of telling and not showing in this book, not a lot of character depth, which isn't surprising, like that does tend to happen in YA writing. I just don't want to read 4 books worth of this storyline and with these characters, which is unfortunate because I think probably if I had read this when I was a teenager and finished the series out at that time in my life, I would have liked it. And I'm definitely realizing just how much like reading preferences change, which is fine, totally normal as a part of growing up. It's just some of these series that I have that I'm like, I should have read this when I got it, at the age that I got it, because I think I would have loved it then. And if I'd grown out of it eventually, fine, but I still would have enjoyed it when I had it, and now I'm reading them, and it's like, darn, I wish I had enjoyed this at some point. But that's okay. That is what it is at this point. So we're gonna give up on this one, and I'm going to grab my stack and see what the next book on the rotation is. Alright, so the stack is pretty much in the same order, just without that one, and we'll do 1 through 6, starting up here with 1, down at the bottom is 7. Hey Siri. Pick a number between 1 and 6. 6. Oh no, okay. Oh, this is what I'm really nervous for. Okay, so pick 6, which is The Vampire Diaries. This one, I think has 2 books in it technically. How does this... Okay, yeah. So this has 2 in it, The Awakening and The Struggle. The Awakening is just like 253 pages, and that's it. So that's not bad at all. I'm nervous about this because this author actually wrote The Secret Circle. If I remember right, I'm pretty sure that's who wrote that. Let me double check that now that I've said it. Yeah. So she wrote The Secret Circle. I read the beginning of that series, I think last year or maybe even the year before. Only read the first book. Did not like the writing style. Where Fated had a decent writing style for like young adults, The Secret Circle was very cringy, the dialogue was really bad, it was very cheesy, very stilted, and it just, it was not great. So I didn't realize that that author was the same author as The Vampire Diaries, and I bought these because I love the TV show and I wanted to see what the books were like, but now that I read The Secret Circle, realized I didn't like that writing style. I'm very, very worried that she's going to have the same writing style in this, which is why I've never started this series. And like I said, I own, like, I looked after I told you guys how many I think I have, and I think there's like, I have like 11 of these. So, nervous. Nervous to get into this because of how many I have, and getting into a big series, but also nervous that I bought all of those and then I'm not going to end up enjoying them. So, yeah, we're just gonna, you know, we're gonna sit here and we're gonna read the first chapter together and we're gonna see how it goes. I've been told that the main female character's name is Elena Gilbert 3 times in 2 paragraphs. which is not ideal. Not ideal. First chapter down, and it's not as bad as I remember it being. I haven't gotten a lot of dialogue yet. The biggest thing was like that we decided to awkwardly introduce the main female character's name 3 different times. Like, that just wasn't necessary. I didn't manage to forget it within 2 sentences. Honest, I didn't. So that was a little bit weird to me, but we'll keep going, and we will see what I think about this one. It's obviously a really short book, so I don't know how long. I guess if I stick to my halfway thing, it'll only end up being, how many pages did I say? 253. It would only end up being 126 pages that I would have to read to get halfway. So not super long. Actually, yeah, so we'll give it a try. Fingers crossed that the writing's a little bit better than her other series. So we moved downstairs, so apologies for the absolutely abysmal lighting. I made it 62 pages into this so far. It's a really quick read. Like, the writing style is really fast-paced. I will say that it's not nearly as cringy as The Secret Circle. I really don't understand why there's such a difference. I gotta check like when these were released versus the other books. Maybe it was just improvement as an author. I don't really know. But like, a lot of that cringy dialogue isn't necessarily here. I mean, there's still some cringe level to it just because of the time period that it was written. And then also these characters are definitely a little insufferable. Elena specifically is very insufferable. She is so wrapped up in this obsession with getting Stefan to be interested in her because he's new and he's interesting and he's good looking. And that's about it. There is no substance behind why she's obsessed with him. Like, she doesn't know him as a person. It's all very based on looks and that whole, thinking like he's sort of a challenge to get. And that's a little bit frustrating. I remember liking her character in the show, and that's not really coming across in the book at all. We'll see if it changes or not. I will say, so far, I'm enjoying it more than I thought I was going to. That being said, if Elena continues to be insufferable or gets worse, I don't know how much I'm going to want to put up with that. Obviously, there's room for character growth and development through the series, but I don't know if that's actually going to happen or not, so we'll see on that. But yes, enjoying it more than I thought I was going to based off of previous attempts with this author. I fear that this took a drastic turn. Okay. The writing wasn't anything spectacular, but it wasn't like absolutely terrible. And like I said, it was better than the other series that I read, and I did confirm that The Secret Circle came out in, I think it's in 1992, this one was 1999, so you know, we grew a little bit as a writer, and for that reason, I was much more accepting of this one. But after my last little clip, it just got worse. Stefan and Elena started interacting more, and their interactions with each other, the dialogue between them just got really cringy. Her internal monologue about this whole relationship and how, like, trying to get him, that got more cringy. And what really, really sold it for me, and this is probably like a bit of a spoiler for the book, it's not something that happened in the show, so you wouldn't know it was there, so spoiler for like the next minute. I will put a timestamp for when you can come back. She gets attacked by, I don't remember his name right now. He's literally in the show too, Tyler. She gets attacked by Tyler after like the homecoming dance. They go to a graveyard, like the cemetery together, and while there, he starts trying to force her into things that she doesn't want. Like, it doesn't get super far. It's not graphic or anything like that. Stefan saves the day, gets Tyler off of her, all of this stuff. And she goes back to his apartment, which I thought was weird, because I was like, why are we doing this? Her response to being attacked like that really wasn't there at all, just didn't exist. And while she's at Stefan's apartment, she gets really mad at him for jumping in, which is just so bizarre. Like, why is that the response that we're giving? And immediately went to, why don't you like me? Why do you hate me? Why are you not giving me the attention that I think I deserve? And they end up kissing, and her internal thoughts is like, oh, I can feel his love and how much I love him. And like, it just, I was so baffled. Like, why is that what we're doing after what is arguably a semi-traumatic experience that at least like you should probably take a few hours to, you know, maybe be okay afterwards. I definitely wouldn't be throwing myself at another guy. Like, that just doesn't make sense to me. So at that point I was kind of checked out. I was like, no, I think I'm good. And I read some spoiler reviews for the rest of this book and for the second book, and was absolutely baffled by what ends up happening in the second book. Like, it feels like there is just no development of anything that's going to happen in these books as far as like romance goes and relationships and character growth. Just sounds like it's going to be non-existent. I was really hoping that I could have like at least enjoy this as like more or less like a guilty pleasure read, but I don't even think that I could do that. So yeah, we're DNFing this series, and I am a little bit disappointed in myself for buying that many books all at once. This is why I don't do this anymore most of the time anyway. I don't even know if I would have enjoyed this if I had read it when I bought it. Honestly, I just don't know. I don't know. So yeah, not really the direction that I wanted this video to go. I really had hoped that at some point I was going to like one of these books. At some point. So yeah, I think we're gonna do one more because I don't have it in me to keep going through this entire stack and not enjoying them. Not that that's for sure what's gonna happen, but like, that seems to be the trend that this is going. We're gonna pick one more, and I'll pick it now, but I'm gonna start it tomorrow because I'm actually getting a pretty decent headache, and I just need to, I think, go to sleep and try to kick this before it gets really, really bad. So we're gonna pick another one, and then we're gonna say goodnight. So I actually really don't want to let the number generator pick for me because I just don't think that's going to go the way that I want it to, especially because in some of the reviews for Vampire Diaries, I saw people talking about this series, the Marked series, and commenting about how bad this was too. So I'm now even more nervous about starting this. So we're just not doing that. We're not doing that. Gossip Girl, I don't know. I'm worried that this is going to go the route of Pretty Little Liars for me, but we'll see. That's a bigger contender. This one I've heard good things about, actually, by the few people that I've seen review it. So that's a bigger contender. This opening line says, I feel the stars, and you know what? I don't feel that. So that one's gonna wait for another day, I think. I think we're gonna go between these three. And I just don't know which one I really want. You know, I think I'm feeling a fantasy, so we're gonna give Rule a try and see how this one goes. So we'll start this tomorrow. I'll give you guys a synopsis then, so I will check back in with you tomorrow. Alright, so we are finally back and going to be reading this. I just really hope this hits because this has been disappointing thus far. So yeah, we're just gonna get right into this. This one says that the king is dying, his heir has just been murdered, and rebellion brews in the east, but the kingdom has one last option before it descends into leaderless chaos, or rather, 3 unexpected options. Zofia spent her entire life trekking through the outer reaches with her band of travelers. She would do anything to protect her people, but no one has ever found out how far she's already gone. Akella was raised in the Eastern Reach, surrounded by whispers of rebellion and abused by her father. Desperate to escape, she makes a decision that threatens the whole kingdom. Ren grew up in Colonia, serving as a lady's maid and scheming her way out of the servants' chambers, but if anyone discovers what she's done, she can be hanged for treason. When the king summons the girls, they arrive expecting execution. Instead, they learn the truth. They're his illegitimate daughters, and one must become his new heir. But someone in Colonia knows their secrets, and that someone will stop at nothing to keep the sisters from their destiny. Magic, mystery, and blackmail abound in this sensational and striking fantasy debut. So, I'm hopeful. I'm very hopeful that maybe we just need a fantasy to get out of this whatever is going on. This one is also maybe written a little bit more recently than those. Let's see, when was this one published? Because the other ones were older. 2018. So we won't get, hopefully, some of that cringe early 2000s stuff going on that was in the other ones. So I'm gonna give this a try. I am 50-something pages into this and happy to say that I am enjoying this much more than the other two reads. Hopefully this one doesn't end up going downhill like the last one, but I don't know, there's something fun about this. The magic system in here is kind of like a blood magic where they have to tap into their own power, offer a little bit of a tithe, I think they call it, I forget, which is their own blood, and it can enhance different things like speed and strength, stuff like that. There's also like a more perverse side of it where it's able to like tap into their blood relatives and their powers, and it's not really an allowed use of this magic system, so that comes into play a little bit. We were introduced to all three of the sisters and the different backgrounds that they've come from. They all kind of have just this secret that they're hiding, something for at least two of them that they did that they should not have done and that they could get in a lot of trouble for. So not only are they trying to figure out what to do with this new revelation that the king is their father, but also how to hide the things that they've done that could get them in a lot of trouble. So I am enjoying this. Like I said, I think that this one has very high hopes for me actually finishing this. This is also just a duology, so if I do decide I like this first one, it's not like I have a ton of books in the series left to read, so that's kind of nice. But yeah, I wanted to give a little bit of an update. I have a bunch of stuff that I would like to do tonight, so I'm going to be reading this intermittently throughout doing different chores and stuff like that, so at some point it's probably going to get dark very quickly because it's already like 6 o'clock now, so yeah, but I wanted to give a little update. Okay, so it is hours later, like I told you it probably would be, and the book is downstairs. I've been reading downstairs, but I wanted to update you guys and forgot to bring it up with me, so yeah. Probably would make more sense just to take my camera down with me when I move downstairs, but that's just, you know, it's just not where we're at in my brain today. Regardless, I am 200 something pages into it now, and now definitely over the halfway point, and I'm happy to say that I will actually be completing this book, and arguably, unless it really goes downhill, I will be going into the second book, which I'm excited about because that's the first one, obviously, in this video that that's happened with. And you know, as much fun as it is to get through books on my physical TBR, I do actually want to enjoy the books that I purchased, even if I purchased them years ago. So it's nice that I can actually do that. We're getting to see all of the different sisters' POVs, which I'm really enjoying. These different things that they've done are obviously coming back to haunt them. There's somebody that knows what's happened and is kind of making it known that they know, and now these girls are just super paranoid. You also get to see more of this magic system that I was telling you about with the tithing and the way that they can get different powers, and that's coming into play with like different training that they're going through. They're trying to prove themselves to the king that they should be the one to become his heir, and I'm enjoying it, you know? It's a good, like, just quintessential young adult fantasy. Nothing super intense, but still like enough intrigue and mystery to drive it. I like the different personalities of all the sisters. I feel like they're all well-developed individual characters. They all get like equal screen time in the book, equal motivations and everything. Like, I don't feel like one was more developed than the other, which I feel can sometimes happen if you have three different characters that are all getting their own POVs or supposed to be getting their own POVs. Like, one tends to be sometimes outweighed, and that doesn't seem to be the case in this. So I am enjoying it. I am hopefully going to finish it sometime tonight and come back with my final thoughts on that. Okay, so it's the next day. I know I didn't update you guys last night, sorry about that, but I did finally finish Rule, and you know what? It's a solid 3-star read. It's nothing spectacular. I don't think I'm ever gonna read it again, but I think that it's a good kind of intro to a fantasy world. Nothing super crazy going on with the world building, with the magic system, but intriguing enough characters and intriguing enough plotline, trying to figure out which of these sisters is going to take over for their father, who is threatening them, and kind of just the different political alignments going on. That, yeah, it keeps you interested in it. So solid 3-star read, I think, for what it is, if I'm looking at it from the lens of like a YA fantasy, which is what it is. Thankfully, we finished this off with a series that I was able to at least read the entire first book. I'm gonna read the second one just because it's a duology, and you know, I kind of want to see where this is gonna go, and I think that it could end up being pretty decent once I get through the second book. So, you know, there's that at least. So all in all, maybe not the most successful TBR Takedown video. I only got through 2 that I was able to cross off the list because, like I said, this one is listed as, the duology is listed as just one option. So I do need to read the other one before I can cross it off. So we only made it down to 120 from 122, but I did take a lot of books off of the entirety of my physical TBR because of getting rid of those other 2 series. So I do really wish that I had enjoyed them more, but the overwhelming response from people online when I was like, yeah, I just don't think I like this, like, is this normal? It's normal. Most people don't actually enjoy the Vampire Diaries books compared to the series, so it's not just me. I wish it was, or wish that I didn't feel that way about it, but it is what it is at this point. So thank you so much for watching this video. Hopefully I will be able to do another one of these in August. I am filming this at the very, very end of July, and I'd like to try to do them monthly. I think I said that before. I missed June, so we'll see if I can get another one done in July and keep working this number down. I think I said 75 at the beginning of the video, probably a little bit ambitious. Maybe I should just aim for 100, but you know, we're gonna get there slowly but surely. So thank you again for watching, and I will see you in another video very soon. Bye.